Yo guys, what is up? It's Teach here, coming at you again with another video. We are playing some New World right now, and I am here to give you 10 helpful tips to literally up your game. Some of these things you might already know and don't use. Some of these things you might not know about and just like, oh, I forgot about that. And that's something useful. So these are 10 simple beginner level tips. Nothing super advanced. This is all stuff you can do from the very start of the game. Now, we're going to go ahead and start off with number one with a mistake that I know we all make, including myself. Whenever you're about to go into an area that is difficult, for example, if you're a long ways away from your settlement, there is nothing worse than if I'm traveling all the way down here than forgetting to put up a camp. Now, a camp seems incredibly stupid to put up and forget about, but oh man, what lag is going on here? Hello. There we go. Okay, so camp tier 2, you can see that right there. Whenever you're going to an area, just have some green wood and flint down because this will save you kilometers of running. Always put this bad boy up because camps are one of the most important things that people forget to use. You can always rest in them too and get a rested bonus, which is quite useful as well. You can see that right there. I get that rested bonus as soon as I'm done. And then you can also craft basic level things in them, including light rations, energy rations, baits, things like that. So you can see very useful to actually just have one of these wherever you go. And it's a respawn point. So if you've gone a long ways, having one of these is super useful. Now, speaking of camps, the second important thing that you really need to focus on is something that nobody uses and they need to be using, and that is food. Now, in my hotbar right now, I have a crafting character going. So I've got energizing travel rations, boiled cabbage, and energizing light rations. Food is one of the most important things in this game because it can do so much. Now, I like to harvest a ton of logging stuff. Now look at this. If you don't eat this, you're basically wasting your time. It's just extra bonuses that you get while doing things you already do. For example, increases your luck when logging by 1,400 points for 25 minutes. AKA, I have a higher probability if I just go ahead and chew on some cabbage to get specialized loot when I'm cutting down trees. Now that is useful. That is really, really useful, obviously, because if you can do that for each and everything, and you can, I'll go ahead and show you in here what to look for. So each one of these things, you can kind of see what's going on here. You have to look for the kitchen, which is the far side over here. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the far side and show you what you can get with this. But food is one of the things that people forget about because you can do so much extra stuff with it. It's not just something that you eat in this game for, you know, XP and stuff like that. It is a ton of valuable stuff. Let's just go down to the bottom here and see what cheese has, right? So cheese is just a bonus item, but like a herb roasted potato increases your luck by mining. So you can make yourself, let's say I just wanted to make 20 of these, right? Not only am I going to increase my overall stuff, whenever I'm mining, I've got a higher chance to get gems. This is a huge thing to use. You're already mining, you're already doing these things. Make sure you eat the food that is appropriate to eat with it. There are XP foods, there are baits. You can see this, strength by 6 and dexterity for 4 for 25 minutes. You can literally give yourself free boosts. Make sure you're doing this. You can see intelligence stews, boiled cabbage stews, game stuffed apples. There is so much here that people do not use, and you can see they're even organized by how to increase these things. Crafting components, trade skills, there are all kinds. So you can see there are different things. Health slowly recovers while these effects. There's tons of stuff. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't do that, but that's one little quick tip. Now, the third thing that I want to talk to you guys about is dodging. It is a very commonly underused thing because people like using their muskets, they like using their ice gauntlets, they like using their range, and they totally forget that you can dodge. When it comes to PvE or PvP, it is one of the most useful things in the game. All you have to do is tap shift. If you're wearing heavy or medium armor, you're going to get like a little bit of a try. If you're wearing light, you're going to get a full barrel roll. And it is incredibly useful. You can actually fight a creature or a human, because PvP is actually pretty predictable, and dodge the entire thing, just like you saw right there. It's a preliminary dodge, so you just want to move out of the way. So I can sit here and constantly dodge and just run away from something, and I will never take damage from it. Obviously, I was talking there and not actually dodging. but you can kind of predict things in this game when they're moving because they give you a little bit of a hint on when they're going to actually attack. So you saw it right there. It is always okay to actually dodge early because dodging early is going to cause them to miss in this game, whereas dodging late is always going to get you hit. So you can dodge early all day and that's just fine. Now, the next thing that I want to bring up to you is the concept of potions. This is the fourth thing. Potions, healing kits, brews, all kinds of stuff like that. Whenever you are actually out and about, you want to make sure that you have yourself some potions. Now, these potions are really useful. You can see you've got the common focus potion. Mana regen will go up. Health regen goes up. All this kinds of stuff. People don't use this enough. They need to be crafting these things. One, because having a high level arcane is very good for you, and two, having free stuff, like for example, if I was to put this, a moderate portion of my mana gets restored. When I'm a mage and I'm like healing everybody and stuff like that, my mana goes down pretty quickly. However, if I just pop one of those bad boys, you don't need to pop them very often. It keeps you in the fight for health or mana longer. It is something that people need to use more of. And then also add in things like this. There are foods that you can increase your health regen rate and all that stuff. You can pile the effects on. Make sure you're using that. It is incredibly important. Now, number 5 on the list, things to make you better. So Azoth or Azoth, whatever you'd like to call it. It is incredibly important in this game because it allows you to fast travel between zones. And if you're like me, you use it all the time because you like harvesting a ton and just jump between the different harvesting areas. Now, it is very cost effective. There's two things. The more weight you have on you, the more it costs to travel. Second thing, you will use more the further you travel. So, having a good storage of Azoth or Azoth is a good thing to have. Now, where do you get this Azoth? Now, once you get to the higher level enemies, you start getting a ton of it. However, if you start fighting these festered hives, monoliths, and portals and stuff like that, most enemies will drop you 10. And now you'll come back because there's like 20, 30 enemies there with a couple hundred Azoth per time you do one of those things. Now, it does not matter if it's a certain level. They all give you a certain amount of Azoth. So make sure you have that constantly updated because Azoth is also useful when you're crafting things. If you use it when you're crafting, for example, a wood longsword or a steel spear and you add it, it increases the chances so you can get better perks, attributes, gem slots, all kinds of stuff. So you want to make sure you have a constant stream of Azoth in your inventory. Don't just kind of like forget about it. It is something that you need to farm just as much as other stuff. Now, number 6, a little bit of a easy one to remember. Now, if you are outside and you are harvesting a whole bunch of wood and you are getting your wood cutting skill very high, for example, my wood cutting skill is 103. Hint, find the things that work well with that. You're going to notice I, in this character, have a tendency to log, which is useful for woodworking and is very useful in engineering. Now you can see all 3 of those are stupid high because they work well together. Whenever I'm out, all I do is whenever I come back with my wood, I slap it down here, harvest that stuff, and as soon as I harvest it here, I'm like, cool, my woodworking goes up. I move over to wherever the engineering table is. In this case, it's right next to it usually. And I go ahead and craft a couple of these things. For example, each one of these is going to give me a bunch of experience. I might as well be crafting a ton of them. See, there's 8. I'm going to give myself a total of, with a lacquered wood bow, we're just going to smack this. And you're going to see I'm going to increase my abilities. Ooh, there's a purple or a blue one. Nice. I'll take that. So I'm going to combine these 3 pathways so I'm constantly leveling all 3. So don't waste your time. Don't just go out, sell, or scratch items. Use the items that you are working with to increase multiple tiers of your pathways. And that's a very useful thing. All right, so let's move on to the 7th thing. Now that I've made all of this, right, I've got the option to sell, scrap, and have my patience. So a couple of things. You got to remember, people want their loot. 1, they like having loot. Even if you're level 12, they want the highest level 12 bow you can have or afford. The things that you make, the high level ones, sell those on the market. The low level ones, salvage those for parts because you will earn repair parts, which will allow you to actually repair your stuff. And then take these top 3 is usually a safe assumption and then run over to the market and sell it. Now, if you're in an area that is a very high level people, for example, if I like scroll into this is like a 20 plus level area and I'm making low level bows, hint, you're not going to sell any. Go to a low level area and put your bows on the open market, your weaponry. You can see it right here. For example, I'm just going to look, I have those available. Let's just look at what weapons are available, because if you get good at making things, hint, people will buy them. No one has any bows. We can see some rapiers, some long swords, some war hammers. They're all sold pretty cheap, but still, it's gold. And that's one of those things. If you've got some high quality ones like that blue one that I have, how many blue things do you see on this? 0. Hint, you're going to sell the blue thing because people like the more valuable stuff. So make sure you're using that open market and have a little bit of patience. Don't just go out and spend all your money. Once you get to the higher levels, you're going to be thankful for when you have all that extra money in there. So just make sure you're focusing on scrapping and like selling the top 3-ish. And then if you don't sell them, oh darn, scrap them later. All right, now the next thing. This one's an easy one to focus on. So your weapon mastery. You need to figure out and test each and every weapon to see which one you like the most. They all have really cool traits. This is a character that I have a life staff and my ice gauntlet I'm leveling the most. I have another character where I've got my great axe and a hatchet. Now, it depends on what you want. I would suggest that you have one from this side and then one from this side, because ranged weapons are really useful. Muskets do a ton of damage. Bows are fired much faster. However, it's really nice when you catch somebody to have a close range combat. The Great Axe and Warhammer seem to be the most common PvP weapons. Sometimes I see rapiers. Very rarely do I see a sword and a shield because they weigh so much, and that's just, cost. That's something that, is not easy to have. Make sure you take your shield off your back if you don't use this, because it's just a ton of weight that doesn't give you any bonus at all. All right, the next thing. You can see him standing right in front of me. This green guy. Thank you for volunteering. That was not planned at all. Another green guy, right? This is a green area. You want to choose the area that you have. For example, right here, tons of purple in this area. A little bit of green, a little bit of yellow. So purple owns this map. So before you just willy-nilly choose what you want, pick a faction that you want to be a part of. There is no major bonus, as far as I'm aware so far in the game, to joining a faction. It's the color that you want to be a part of. That's literally all it is. Now, there is, you can see, I don't blast and believe it. Essentially, I'm a pirate in green. The purple are like mages, if you want to call them that. And then the yellow is like the god-fearing, whatever it is, some sun worshippers. Now, you can see it right here. They give you different missions, but it's all the same. You're going to get the same exact missions for all 3 of them. There is no boost. There is no benefit, but choose carefully. If you join a map and yellow owns the entire thing and you join as a green person, hint, it's going to be really hard for you, because you get boosts for being the color that is, inside. Like, this city is a green city. I am in the green city because I get boosts and benefits for being in a green city. So choose that color carefully. Choose your faction carefully. There's no major effect on you, but it will affect your overall PvP experience. So think about that. If you want to be the lower level person, most people don't choose yellow. The most popular is purple, and green is the second most popular. Now, the last thing that you kind of need to focus on. A lot of people are going to say, this is the weapon you need to use. This is the skills you need to use. Hogwash. Essentially, every single thing on here is something that is unique to what character you want to build. Do you want to build a protecting character or a true healer? Now, in my opinion, what I like to do is I like to test out each and every ability in order to figure out which is best. Now, the life staff, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just like every other weapon, 6 different traits for each and every weapon. Test them out together. I found that I like using Divine Embrace, Sacred Ground, and then the Beacon. However, I know a lot of people that like the Orb of Protection and the Light's Embrace. Figure out which ones you like the most, because they each have their own pathways. For example, I like this. Light and heavy attacks no longer take mana. That's pretty freaking awesome. So test out the different things. I know that some people are a huge fan when they're using the musket. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They use the trapper stats because they like throwing down the traps, which will immobilize your target essentially. And you can see this one right here. There's lots of different specialized things. The trapper is someone that's kind of like more of like a preventing someone from getting behind you, whereas this is more of a chasing somebody down with the sharpshooter. So kind of pick and mix and match. Don't just go with one because somebody says it's good. Find which ones you're good with. It's just like any other PvP game. The modern thing might be one thing, but you might be really good with something else. Don't try and fight it. Just be what you're good with. Use that. Use that ability. Test it all out. Have a little bit of fun and figure out what you work best with, because I guarantee there is going to be a meta. However, that meta is going to become predictable and people are going to learn how to counter it. Even though it is the meta, there are always ways to counter in games like this. So choose and test the weapons to the best of your ability. That is the 10 easy hints to hopefully help you out with this game. And other than that, hopefully you're playing it. I'm having some fun. Probably going to make myself a little bit of a little faction or group, if you want to call it that. I'll put some invites out for it later. And if you're enjoying it, make sure you let me know. All right, Teach out.